What's going on, guys? Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over my ownership experience and thoughts of my 2023 CR-V Sport Touring Hybrid. Kind of just what I've experienced, what I've added, some bad, some good, and just my general thoughts of the car. First things first, I'd just like to talk about, this won't be like a full technical review. I'm sure you've seen more. The reason why I feel like you're clicking my video here is to just see what I've experienced, kind of different things like that, what I've seen pop up. But I'm happy to report nothing major, nothing crazy. I know some of the newer gen has had some issues, but my car's been pretty much pristine to own. So to start with what I've kind of added, as you can see up on the top there, I've added some crossbars. Those are just OEM Honda parts. Really easy to install. I have kind of picked up biking this last summer and this summer, and I do have a bike rack. I haven't used it yet, but when I do, I can report that to you guys and see if there's any issues with that, though I don't think there will be. I've also bought the Tux mats for this car. Highly recommend if you're in any snowy climate. For me, in my experience of my 2016 CR-V that I owned before this, there was a nice little salt pocket that would develop underneath the accelerator, which I really hated. It was really a hassle to clean in the springtime. So what I did is I ordered them before winter of last year and installed them and used them throughout the winter. Currently, I have the summer mats in just because I kind of feel like they fit the vibe of summer. I don't need all the bulkiness of the Tux mats during the summer, as there's just not as much dirt, debris as there would be in the winter with all the salt and everything. So I currently have them just actually in the back of my car. Other than that, we'll move in here. I've also installed the HomeLink mirror. Since it doesn't come standard, it does not come standard in the CR-V Sport Touring trim for some reason, so that's been a nice addition. You get your three little HomeLink buttons here. You still get the dimming, the auto dimming and brightness depending on who's behind you with those brights these days. That was an easy install. I believe there's a video on YouTube. Maybe a little bit of a hassle, but not too bad. I would highly recommend it. I'm surprised they didn't come on, but with the trim, but it is what it is. We're not Honda dealers out here. I'll go on and turn the car on here. As you can see, we're sitting at roughly about little under 16,000 miles. On this tank alone, after 90 miles, I'm averaging about 40. It's been nothing but great to live with in terms of fuel economy. I have had some of my best in the spring and summer here, especially going back to last summer. I'm averaging around 40. In the winter time, I did see a little bit of a dip. I was seeing anywhere from like 33 to 35. I feel like that's pretty normal to see in those winter temperatures. So that I was not too worried with. And as you can see, we're just kind of sitting down here in the sun and the EV turned right on. So that, I would say the biggest thing is if you're looking for the different changes in terms of like a normal car to this, is playing around with the EV battery in this system is super fun. Highly would recommend getting kind of used to the paddle shifters here. I use them all the time. Mostly the -1 because that's what increases your braking regen. So if you want the car to stop more, you press this one more. So I've been using that a lot. I feel like it's kind of like a game. Obviously, they do not work like normal paddle shifters. It will not change your transmission at all or anything like that. But I don't know. It's been super fun to play with. I feel like you get better MPGs because it's able to kind of turn on that EV battery just a little bit more when you're using the paddles. But people obviously have their different experiences. I normally use this car in normal mode. I can see it's kind of a debate within the CR-V community on whether you should be on normal or eco. I feel like the eco, when you have it in eco, kind of neuters the engine a little bit too much for me in terms of when you want to accelerate on the freeway, you kind of have to pretty much go full throttle in eco mode to kind of get around. So normal mode for me at least has kind of been just that good in between of it's not too much, but it's not too light, so you can kind of usually get the best MPGs from what I've seen. Another thing I liked, and the reason why I kind of went with Sport Touring, is a couple things. Is the Bose sound speaker, or the Bose speakers in this car sound great in my opinion, especially coming from my 2016 I think this is a huge upgrade, as well as you can hear the glass as well as a little bit thickened in here, but also the heated steering wheel. Someone who's from Minnesota like me here, I've really appreciated the heated steering wheel throughout winter here. It's something I was kind of looking out for in terms of just my general car buying. Obviously, you do have your heated seats, but I feel like those can only get you so far. That's just from my personal experience. Obviously, everyone else is clearly different from me. Another thing I've really liked is these touch controls. They feel really nice. I'm sure if you've seen kind of just any general review from actual car reviewers, you can see that a lot of them are very receptive to how they work and feel, and I can report that they are just as good as they feel like in person. Another thing is the steering wheel. Obviously, it's going to be so hard to see on camera, but the steering wheel is awesome. I don't know what kind of leather they used. It feels great to touch though, so good props for them. And so, going back to my fuel economy, I'll put some pictures up here of kind of what I've experienced throughout this kind of summer here. I don't have any pictures from my winter, but that will probably come. I've been taking them pretty regularly now, so I'm assuming those will then come towards the winter months. I will also put a picture right here on screen of my trip to Wisconsin, where it was about, I believe, like 180 miles, where I didn't see the best return on fuel economy, mostly because I was more willing to hit the throttle a little bit more and kind of get to my destination a little bit quicker rather than get more fuel economy. I will say, once you start going past like the 75-ish and start going up past that, obviously I feel like you start then slowly decreasing your MPGs, but I feel like that's with a lot of cars as well, but certainly for this car as well. I do a mix of open highway more to like heavy traffic highway, like about 25 miles each way for me daily to get to my work. And I see around 40 every time, kind of with no hitches. So that's just a mixture of, keeping mostly in the right lane, as I feel like that way you're kind of more with the flow of traffic as being compared in the right lane or the passing lane, where you're braking maybe a little bit more constantly, then you're full on accelerating a little bit more quickly. So from what I've seen, is sticking in that right lane and really milking the MPGs out of this car is certainly something I would recommend. I've also used the parking brake quite often here. I use it kind of every time I get into park. Not sure if that actually does anything, but I feel like it keeps the car just a little bit, tighter when you get on. You don't have that just huge throw once you put it in park and take your foot off the brake. Now, some of the things I've disliked about this car. The wireless Android Auto / Apple CarPlay, and obviously this is being filmed on a Galaxy S23 Ultra, so my experience is going to be for Android Auto only, is sometimes I've had it where I'll just be driving and then it will just full cut out. Like, the screen will go back to this screen, Android Auto will disconnect, and then not even 5 seconds later, it will all come back and my music will start playing again. The nav will still be going, like almost like nothing happened. Not really sure what is that about, but I've seen just some general quirks about that online as well. Also, this wireless charger here, I have found it to be mostly useless in terms of everything. I feel like it doesn't hold my phone in place, so that way, and then because of that, it just doesn't charge all the time. So I've started putting my phone right here, and I usually charge my phone overnight anyway, so I really don't need to use it all that often. But yeah, kind of a disappointment from Honda, having just pretty much a useless feature. Another thing I will say, and if you kind of read about this online, is my front left, my mirror right here, if you read about some of like the quirks that happen, it does tend to shake every once in a while when you start getting like 70 plus, like you'll see it actually start rattling, so that way when you look behind you on your left there, it's kind of hard to read because it's going up and down. Not sure about that. I guess if you guys have any fix through that, or is it just talking to the dealer, that's something. It doesn't appear all that often, that's why I haven't really put too much attention to it. But another thing, if we step out here, you can kind of see the wear and tear on my front passenger, or my front driver You can kind of see some different divots here and stuff like that, but overall you can also see, because this is kind of where I step out, but overall I think it'll hold up great. Sure, that's a little bit of a divot, but that I feel like will naturally come with every car. I've thought about getting tint, so I got the factory dealer tint, whatever the percentage, the lowest percentage they could go with it being legal. I kind of feel like I want a little bit more, at least to somewhat match the rear passengers back there. But so if you guys have any recommendations on that, that'd be great. Another thing I'd like to just point out is I did my first oil change at 7,500 miles. I know people say to wait for the maintenance minder. Other people said they changed it at like 2,000 to 5,000. I kind of felt it was just a good medium to do it at 7, and then I've been doing them at 7 every time past that. It's totally up to the person who owns the car to kind of do their own maintenance. So from what I've seen, I've had no issues changing it at every 7, but I guess we'll have to see over the longevity of the car. All right, I think the biggest 2 questions I have to ask, or to finish the video here, is would I buy this vehicle again, and then also would I choose the Sport Touring again? And I do have to say, for both these questions, I'd probably say yes to both. Yes, I would buy this again, especially when I look at the prices of RAV4s back when I was looking. I just was not willing to pay over MSRP for a vehicle that I thought had a worse interior and kind of gave you it gave you different features than what the CR-V, but not enough at least to convince me to go over to Toyota. And then buying the Sport Touring trim over other trims, it's completely up to you and what you're willing to spend, but I certainly like kind of the different upgrades that it came with. So thanks again for watching.